Morning, everybody. Thought I'd do a quick video this morning. It's it's 1 in the morning here. I couldn't sleep. It was weird. Couldn't sleep. So kept having this nagging thought. Get up and go do a video. Maybe Ella come on, because I'm just worried about her. I've just been getting a bad vibe the last 24 hours when she came on yesterday, and since she was tired and getting some sleep, I just hope everything's all right. Had a couple of videos here I was gonna show, so let's do a little sharing here. This video here. This is the millennial video that I watched the other day, and this guy does a really good job on laying out millennialism. It's kind of a hokey video, but it gets the point across real well. I'm not gonna show it all right now, but I am gonna put the fractal. I'm gonna put the link here in the description for that video, and gonna start this one. Got another one. I haven't even seen this one. I wanted to watch it, but I hadn't watched it yet. So let's watch it together.
Oh, we're in space, and now it's a difficult video, and now there's compression effects, and then show me the logo, and then the logo has compression effects. Why?
Houston, we have a problem.
This was the launch, of course. This is Perseverance going to the great planet of Mars, some 50 to 150, whatever they claim it is at this point in time, million miles away, and they're going to drop this thing into the atmosphere, and it's going to be this little rolling remote control car. It will have a helicopter attached. Did you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the helicopter, yes. Here was news also in the media. So.
And so again, I mean, I understand everybody's got their own opinion of what this actually is. I know Dave Weiss continues to think that it's a balloon with smoke coming out of it. I don't know. To me, it's simple. I do believe that you can
It's a missile.
It's a missile. Yeah, that's exactly my belief. You can create missiles. Humans have the ability to create a missile and launch it out in a certain direction. They can go a certain distance, right? One of the things that we know for sure is you can't see very far. I mean, if you think about a plane, how far do you think you can see planes in the sky? I'm talking about distance away from you, right? East or west or horizontally. Not very far. I mean, if you think you can see a plane 5, 10 miles off in the distance, I don't think you can. You're just not going to see through the atmosphere. So yeah, I'm just going to show this, and this is what I think is so funny. You know, you watch this, and you have to remember that the distances and the speed that they're telling you are just what they're telling you, okay? And there's a reason why, and I'll stop this again. There's a reason why you never, yeah, that's supposedly steam is what they're saying. Supposedly this gets so hot, it needs to be drenched with water, and the thing gets so hot that this is steam. That's supposedly their story. But here's what you have to remember. You'll never see a rocket launch from the side view. Why? Because we saw the side view one time. Remember here we looked at that, the side view of the SpaceX launch, where basically the thing went up from this side, went up, and then went down, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So they won't show you the view from the side. Why? Because it will be painstakingly obvious that the thing is not gaining altitude. As it is with this, if you just use your mind and are not in awe of the miracle of space travel and what a great human species we are and how fantastic American ingenuity is, if you get over that, you'll start to realize the hoax. So here this thing takes off, and you just have to think of how quickly, and we're going to be watching down here in the lower left, the so-called or the supposed speed and distance. So this thing's taking off, and in a second here we're going to get, I believe, hopefully.
There he is, the little man who started this big war.
Dad was going to send me to jail. He'd do the same to you.
I need leverage. That rat sets 1 foot inside this building. I'll punch him in the nose.
You're kidding. You
To
too.
go at 22 times the speed of sound, how many of those shocks that they should have, right? Those kind of breaking the sound barrier should be one after the other.
And this is supposedly, just so people can see this is the miles altitude. It's not kilometers, it's not anything else. This is miles, and this is miles per hour. So again, within 35 seconds, and that's even if you count, this thing slowly lumbering up. Within 35 seconds, it's at 10 miles altitude, which is higher than any commercial jet, 52,000 feet, right? So it's already hard to believe at this point. And then, as we know, it's going to go up, and it's going to, as we said, start to level off, flying horizontal with the ground. But again, if you watch this thing just lies to you, just completely and totally lies to you and tells you this thing. Look how fast this thing is saying that it's rising. It's rising a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles every second. I mean, it's like 3 miles a second. And now this is leveled off. This is now flying down. Okay, it's no longer gaining altitude, but look at the altitude. 39, 40, 41, 42, 40. It's going down. 44, 46. This is heading down.
See, there it is. Now it's already going down.
Yeah, hold a pencil. I mean, if you're looking at this from any angle, it cannot be going up. It's not what it would look
The
like.
thing is that, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate or
Please.
something like that. I always listen to you guys
What is
saying
that in
that
Spanish?
word.
Bro? Is it Diablo?
Abogado, yes, abogado, lawyer of the devil. That the thing is, just the idea that now is not going down, but at least it's horizontal.
At least, okay,
Going
I'll
away.
give you that.
At least it's going away, right? Horizontal.
Yes, it's just in the straight path.
Yeah,
to
that's
the
what that
horizon.
Chinese missile that you show, right?
Exactly.
Two angles,
Yes.
and
I'll
you
give
can
you
see
that.
it's going away.
I'll give you that.
Straight
So then-
away, straight line. Just that.
Into the missile graveyard in the ocean.
I'll give you that, but it is
Eventually,
not
yeah.
rising at basically
It's
1
not
mile
going
per second. It's just not. And again, this is just a lot. I mean, they have it set basically. Look at they can have it set to rise. Look at it's actually going exactly.
That's a
in order.
widget that you program, right?
Yeah, it's just
I think
easy. Yeah, it's just simple. And then it can just
No,
get a
that's
little bit
very
faster.
difficult to do, man.
Oh, so difficult.
Yeah, look at that graphic. It's so futuristic. It's impossible to human do that.
So you can tell it's connected to all their machines, right? The sensors, real time.
Oh, and that just jumped 4 miles. So now we've got 70 miles in altitude. I mean, people need to think of how far 70 miles is. I mean, you can barely see an airplane at 5 miles.
Right.
And this is 75
That's
miles.
way too far for seeing this. But
That's ridiculous.
wait, shouldn't it get to 17,000 miles an hour at some point? Or does it do that?
Carlos took on.
Well, it's supposed to go faster than that to get away from Earth, isn't it?
Yeah, the escape velocity. So it's either it's falling later, it can go horizontally for a while, but it's definitely not going up.
Yeah. And again, I don't know
and
how
if
to
it-
explain it better to people that if you take a pencil and you hold it up above your head and out in front of you, start to angle it where the pencil is pointed up, where the pencil is pointed down, where the pencil is pointed away from you. And clearly when you get that angle is when the pencil is pointed down. Okay, if it's pointed, it may be horizontal, maybe like Ira said, maybe horizontal, but if you point it up, you get the underside of it. You don't get that side of the crown.
Yeah. I mean, you see with the clouds, right? As the clouds go away from you, you see them flat from the bottom lowering towards the horizon. You don't see them spinning or turning,
And then they show you this, and I'm sure Carlos thinks this is real. Why? Because the thing is, it's going away from you because of perspective, and this is the next
I
view you
mean,
get.
can you just compare that to an ISS picture? Because it already looks like what it looks like from the ISS. It's like, what's the difference?
Yeah,
It looks like they're using the same backdrop.
And they're, again, 225 miles, and you can keep watching this thing's just jumping. But again, it's supposedly flying up in the sky.
oh,
what
they
was
put
that?
a lot of their ice particles in this one too.
Oh,
Kinda-
that's another thing. I think it's on this screen. Is it on this one? Or I had a screen up yesterday where see all these little fragments flying. They were flying even in the other screen. Hopefully it's on this one. I'll show you if it comes up. It was like basically just telling you that it's all bullshit. But again, people can believe whatever they want. Carlos, if you want to believe it,
They're
you know,
flying almost like back towards the camera or something sometimes. That would be impossible, but kind of looks like that. Who knows how kind of they layered this in their CGI program? It looks really fake.
So I don't know if you can see these little pixels that are showing up, like little.
I don't see it. I don't see it fake really in terms of my eyes. I just see a missile to maybe 25, 30 kilometers up in the sky going in a straight path with a fisheye lens. It's nothing fake. The thing is fake is that they don't show the complete flight of the rocket. You know, they
comparing this to
The thing that's fake is your story.
rockets, you know,
No, maybe
the sounding rockets, you know, they go up and they go fast and they don't get all this ice. That's what I'm just questioning why all this stuff that you don't. Do you see this all the time? This much of it? It just looks slightly different.
no, but you can argue that maybe the condensation, because this rocket has more fuel and it's more heat, accumulate more heat, and maybe when you go up there, the temperatures are really low. So you can have condensation, whatever. You have in the first step condensation, and then that condensation get freeze. Okay. The thing is, maybe it's not right. Maybe it's not.
miles would be, you know, inside the layered. I mean, of course. So you said 20 miles, right? You said something.
Yeah, a little more, maybe 30 miles. You know, and you can maybe see that behavior in the gas house spread, which is something that spreads very in a spherical pattern. Like there is no pressure there to keep it, more in the jet stream way. But
there
the
are
fact
examples
is,
of missiles doing that, right? That spread
Yes.
pattern.
Let me point this out real quick, and then you can go back to that. Do you see how it's like breaking pixels here? Like you'll see these little squares. I'm trying to pause it on one, but you'll see them flash across the screen. It's like, oh, the feed is breaking up, and it's getting. You'll see it here in a second. There's like these little square pixels. You have to tell me what they are. I'll see if I can pause on one. But I think it's hilarious that they're showing these little broken pixels here, and then the next screen is their logo screen, but the broken pixels are still there. Okay, see right here, Hero?
yes, compression.
Okay, so then see again, and then you can keep pausing, and there'll be more and more.
So, yeah, that's our space agencies, baby. That's funny. You see stuff like that, and they keep pushing it on you. Yeah, when you see those shots and the clouds are always the same on the International Space Station pictures, always the same. It's crazy. The like we were talking the other day, it'd be crazy, man, if somebody high up and one of those facilities just said, I can't do this anymore, man. We're just basically Disney, and any film studio that needs a space video, they come to us. We've been doing this a long time. Just come on, man. Tell us. Quit treating us like we're complete idiots. I mean, we're not real smart, but come on, man. And that's something. Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, but I hadn't seen I hadn't seen Build Back Better talking too much about NASA. And, Trump did. Trump started the whole Space Force. I hadn't heard anything about Space Force. What's up with that? Anybody? Anybody know anything about Space Force? It's supposed to be the next latest and greatest thing. I was hoping. There she is. I was hoping. Cooking dinner. Well, I wanted to get a report from you. Now, I purposely got up at this time to hopefully catch some of you guys and get some information from around across the plain. So, what's for supper? Ella, what's for supper? I put the link in the chat there. Now I want to share one about the we've got the Supreme Court going over our pro-life stuff, and here's an update on how it's going.
Controversy has erupted over Amy Coney Barrett's statements in the abortion case from several days ago. And the controversy reveals the corrupt and evil core that is at the heart of modern progressivism. Now, Amy Coney Barrett pretty almost innocuously raised the question. The left, this is Elizabeth Preligar speaking for the Biden administration, kept talking about forced pregnancy. And Amy Coney Barrett said, in effect, she said, look, I admit that pregnancy involves a sort of infringement upon the idea of bodily autonomy, which is to say that your absolute right to have a say over whatever happens around or even inside your body. But she said, we live at a time when there are adoption agencies that are desperately looking for children. Now, Amy Coney Barrett is obviously not speaking here theoretically. She has had, 5 children of her own. They've adopted 2, in fact, from Haiti, I believe. And Amy Coney Barrett said, at a time when we also have these laws, they're so-called safe haven laws. And what they mean is that if you don't want to raise your child, you can, in a sense, shield yourself from criminal liability, from being charged with negligence. You just essentially put the child up for adoption, and it will be raised by someone who wants it. So Amy Coney Barrett's point here, and it's really an unanswerable point, is that when you're talking about the forced pregnancy, all that you mean is that the inconvenience on the one side that's involved is that the woman doesn't have to raise a child she doesn't want to raise, isn't saddled with lifetime obligations, isn't responsible for financial burdens that she's unable to bear or even know how she can bear in the future. None of that. The woman merely has to carry the pregnancy to term, at which point the adoption agency sort of steps in. So balancing, if you will, the inconvenience to the mother versus the child's right to life. I mean, think about it. This is its whole future, its whole destiny, its chance to live in the first place. Amy Coney Barrett's point is, what are you saying? You know? And Elizabeth Preligar, of course, spouted a bunch of incomprehensible nonsense. But the leftists picked this theme up. And I find it really fascinating. Here's an article in Vogue magazine that says that this was a, quote, moment of repugnance. This woman was just repelled by Amy Coney Barrett even bringing up adoption. And I'm going to just read because it gives a window into the psychology of the left. As a queer woman hoping to start a family in the not too distant future, I felt a particular sense of unease listening to Barrett frame adoption in this way. And she goes, my right to parent as a queer person should not be remotely connected to another person being forced to carry their pregnancy to term. So really what she's saying is, even the act of having the child is too much to ask of the woman. Let's think about it. The woman has participated with a man in creating this child. No one made them do it. They've done it on their own. and by their own actions, and yet it's too much to ask that this pregnancy be delivered. In the New York Times, Elizabeth Spears writes an essay. She's an adoptee herself, but she says that adoption can be, quote, infinitely more difficult, expensive, dangerous, and potentially traumatic than terminating a pregnancy in the early stage. Now, she's looking perhaps, and I would agree, that if you're talking about just walking in and out of an abortion clinic, as opposed to, let's say, carrying the pregnancy to term for 9 months, technically speaking, this is true. But she goes on very interestingly to talk about the fact that mothers who give up their children experience heartbreak over the years. Where's my child? Who's raising my child? Well, yeah, but what would the other option have been? Don't you think that the same mother would experience regrets over, I killed my kid will never see the light of day, I gave birth to this kid, I conceived this child, but then I refused to raise it. And then she talks, and she has the chutzpah to talk about the difficulties faced by adoptive children, which actually, by the way, are real. Adoptive children often experience an identity crisis and this sort of thing. But again, compared to what? Which adoptive child would say, I'm experiencing an identity crisis. I wish I had been raised by my own birth parent. I'm happy to be raised by someone else. But you know what? My first choice is basically to have a pair of forceps smash my head. I don't think that's going to be a common thought on the part of adoptees. Now, here's an adoptee, by the way, Rebecca Carroll, who's apparently written a book about this. She's evidently Black, and her book is called Surviving the White Gaze. And this really angered me because she goes, quote, this is her story about, quote, the enduring trauma of being adopted into a white family. And I thought, well, did the white family mistreat you in some way? It turns out, no. There's no mistreatment at all. The trauma is the fact that she, a Black child, was raised by a white family. And I'm thinking to myself, if it's enduring trauma for you to be adopted by a white family, I'd consider that the Black family, that the Black parents that gave birth to you didn't want you. And two, there were evidently no Black couples that chose to adopt you. The white family stepped in. So aren't you grateful that somebody stepped in? Aren't you grateful that some family raised you? And so this idea of turning around and bashing the process and bashing Amy Coney Barrett, this is Rebecca Carroll. She has, quote, damaged the psyches of her own Black adoptive children by even raising the topic. So I think this is the ghoulish philosophy that is modern progressivism. In a sense, what they're saying is that abortion, including late-term abortion, I mean, you talk about the trauma of having a child. What about the trauma of going through a partial birth abortion, a late-term abortion? That's a hideous trauma, but the left defends it relentlessly. They want to leave that option open to women. They're not worried about the fact that this can be a difficult, dangerous, even a health challenging choice for the mother herself. Not to mention a sort of a death sentence for the fetus that's been conceived. I think what we see here is that is a kind of sad insider perspective into the depraved heart that is modern liberalism.
Yeah, so that's good news, right? I mean, that's good news on the pro-life front, that these people are losing it. They're losing it over the sheer fact. And Amy Coney Barrett, she hadn't done so well since her nomination, but this time she stepped up. And like you said, she's adopted like 3 kids. I think she had 5 of her own, and they adopted 3. And her deal was, adoption is a tough process, for the people trying to adopt a child. But it beats the alternative. And it's so weird to me that the left argues that it's better to eliminate a life than to live 9 months while that life develops. And then you're done. You can hands off. Take it. Then you're done. Rather than, the alternative is final. So final. And another thing the left absolutely refuses to acknowledge is that person made a choice to engage in an activity that historically, on average, produces more children than not doing it, right? So if you don't do it, your chances of having a kid go way down. But when you do it, they go way up. And then when you do become pregnant, they act surprised. Well, golly, oh man, how'd this happen? It's like you got a flat tire. I gotta go get some air put in this thing. Get done with this. Golly, how'd that happen? You know, it just drives me nuts. Once you find a good wife, that's helpful, right? Right, that is helpful. But we don't battle, right, against flesh and blood, but these principalities that put up these rules, regulations, laws, and statutes that say, yeah, it's okay. The left will scream and holler for this mass murderer. His life has worth and meaning. Don't kill him. Don't kill him. That's just not good. Wow, I hate that, Fred. Oh man. That kid comes with the new wife. Then you'll adopt it. But yeah, the argument on the left going, yeah, poor woman should be thinking, the rest of her life, I hope somebody's taking care of my kid. I hope it's okay. What? If you're thinking that, what are you going to think if you kill it? If you've got that kind of a conscience, you're gonna hurt quite a bit more. At least, the other scenario, they're alive. They're alive. They may be riding a bicycle somewhere right now. Wow, it's just their mentality. It's hard, man. It's hard to to square with them. I find it so hard to square with them that they fight like they fight over the right to murder. Just why are you doing this? Let's watch this quick video. Ads are running. I hate these stupid things. Boy, have y'all noticed the ads on everything on YouTube? I'm not going to pay the premium by any means, but they're just terrible. This is a good one about Christians.
I'm going to read because it came in over email. It's Susie from Florida. Dinesh, we always hear that we need to be involved in politics, but as Christians, shouldn't our hope just come from Jesus? Now, I think that the underlying idea behind this question is the notion that, hey, look at Jesus. He came into the world for 33 years, but he wasn't a political figure. He didn't try to overthrow the Roman regime. He was all about personal holiness. He was all about take up your cross and follow me. He was all about the life to come. So another way to put it is that Jesus, reading the Bible, if you're looking at Jesus as a model, Jesus seemed to be all about pointing to the city of God, not the city of man, and orienting our eyes toward the city of God. Now, while that's all true, and it's all true of Jesus himself, it is also true that Jesus came to redeem man. And redeem man, not just individually. Jesus just didn't die for you and you and you. Jesus died for mankind. He died for all of us, which is to say that he died ultimately to redeem the city, our lives here and now, and to open the door to the next life, to the life to come. Now, what is the relationship between the city of God and the city of man? What is the relationship between our life now and the next life? That's really the question that Christians have had to answer. And I will say that we have to answer it in some ways differently today than Christians had to answer it for many, many hundreds of years. Why? Because for many, many hundreds of years, certainly within Europe and within America, you had essentially a Christian culture. Christians were operating inside of a Christian environment. And so it's very easy for someone to say, well, listen, I'm just really going to focus on my personal holiness. I'm just going to focus on living a better life because the culture will take care of itself. There are many other people. There are Christian parents and Christian pastors and Christian lawyers, and they are preserving the integrity of the society around me. And my job ultimately is to focus on my own personal salvation. But we today are in the peculiar predicament of being Christians in, well, I won't just say in secular culture, because I want to go further. We are Christians in a culture that is today actively hostile to Christian principles and Christian beliefs. And I don't just mean actively hostile to Christian theology. It's not, if you think about liberal culture, the liberals don't spend a lot of time denouncing the resurrection. They don't spend a lot of time denouncing the sacraments. They don't spend a lot of time denouncing heaven or hell, but they do spend a lot of time attacking Christian morality. So here, their target isn't theology, it's morality. So morality is the link between this world and the next world. Why? Because while God inhabits, you may say, the next world, God is superintends directly over heaven, God does supply us with conscience and morality here and now. And as Christians, we're called, the Bible is kind of explicit about this, to be salt and light in the world, which is to say, to use our influence to make our world better. We're not just fighting mere ignorance today. We're fighting evil. We're fighting active forces that want to undermine the propositions of Christian belief and Christian morality. Another way to put it is that we have a political debate, but under the political debate is a moral debate. And underneath the moral debate is a spiritual debate. There's spiritual warfare going on. It's perhaps invisible to us, by which I mean it is spiritual warfare that has to be discerned or detected. Why? Because the devil isn't somebody who just shows up. We can't see him any more than we can see God in a kind of material sense. But I believe, and I think you believe, or many of you believe, that evil is no less real a force in the world as good. And so as Christians, I would say that even while following Jesus and even while anticipating the life to come, even while living subspecie eternitatis, which is to say, under the perspective or in the shadow of eternity, at the same time, we should make sure to be salt and light in the world. We should make sure to take those principles, if you will, from the city of God and apply them as best we can to the city of man.
So that's Dinesh always does good
My favorite
little
thing about
videos. He does good videos on that kind of stuff, and he's so right there. And I've always contended that, you know, I don't know about in other parts of the realm, but for the most part, our politicians, just about anywhere you go, if they were pressed to, you know, to answer, they believe in God, right? Till I'll say, whether they're Catholic or Baptist or whatever, you know, they claim some kind of Christianity. But if the number that claim it were actually solid, God-fearing Christians, we wouldn't be where we are today. You know, we've all known for a long time that they use that card, you know, as almost as a doorstop. Because if you don't say it, they all feel like now that you're not even going to get in the race. It's like the old kissing babies thing. I love kids. Look at me. I'm so wonderful. You know, I'm a Christian. You know, and I have those values and morals. Bull. No, you don't. Not at all. Fractal, that's funny. My endocrine system really wants me to get to work. That's funny. I'm gonna have to remember that. I'm gonna have to remember that one. I got a friend, man, that women's biological clocks are ticking while his endocrine system is just kicking his ass. Let's go, buddy. Yeah, I mean, all of them do, and it's so bad. My whole life, especially in Texas, every single politician, I'm gonna fight for your rights, First Amendment rights to worship as you will. They're gonna get out of our churches. They've done nothing but intrude more into our churches, into our institutions. Yeah, and they yeah, and like you said, they don't want to have a philosophical or theological argument. They want to just talk about morals. And God, we've had enough of our so-called leaders show little morals, Well, yeah. I mean, you pick a city. That's why so many people, I find it so hard to believe that people won't just take a look at a few things, that Revelations talks about. And one of them is, the churches. You would think if there were 7 churches that God felt were in a position that he needed to speak with them and tell them what's coming and how he feels about them, that you'd know about it. You know about these churches. You'd be wanting to, if you were a true seeker of God, you'd want to be in one of these churches. You'd want to know the people in these churches. I'm just saying, does that make any sense? Because if we're leading up to the rapture and tribulation, there's got to be some major good churches hanging out that we're like, wow, because they got to fall away, right? So if they're not really good, they can't really fall away. And if that was so, we're really in that time, I would think, got to be a church or two in this realm, building up, really, really doing a good job, because they got to get really, really up there to be able to fall away. That's just my take. I don't know, but we here in the U.S., it's just wow, just getting worse. Just getting worse. We're not far behind you, hell. We gotta be waking up sometime soon. If we don't, it's just too late. Too late. Welcome to my nightmare. Welcome. Where is that one I wanted to look at? We certainly don't have a lack of opportunities to go completely against our morals and principles. And then when you do offer up an alternative to the secular world, you're not being inclusive enough. And if y'all noticed, here in the U.S., last few years, there's just been this push to segregate. Yeah, they want to segregate. They want to be like, hey, we've been oppressed long enough. Let us. Oh, wow. It just started raining big time outside. Big time.
Unlimited DVR.
Big time. Raining out there. Come on, Baxter. But I got another video I'm going to show here. The one for all these dang ads. we, I know Baxter's shaking. It just started thundering and raining out there. It's okay, Baxter. It's okay. It's okay. Let's share a video. Why don't you, Baxter? What do you think?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. Starting off here with a state of emergency declared in Hawaii headline at USA Today. The state of emergency is through Wednesday of this week. Got about another 24 hours. Warning of catastrophic flooding, high winds. Goes on to say some areas could see as much as 2 feet of rain through Wednesday, thanks to this developing atmospheric river. A lot of times these things extend from Hawaii to the United States. Hawaii is not necessarily known for its inclement weather. It's known for its nice weather. And you can see a system down here just above the equator starting to get ramped up. Hopefully that will not go north following this unusual weather pattern that has been developing more and more atmospheric rivers this year than I think I've ever seen. In fact, we're supposed to get rain out here in Arizona from yet another sky river. You can see it's starting to bring snow into the elevations right now up in Flagstaff. Here's some folks on the beaches of Hawaii looking up at the unusual skyline. Once again, Hawaii is not necessarily known for its inclement weather, but that is one ominous looking cloud, part of this weather system that could bring up to 2 feet of rain to parts of Hawaii. Also in this video, I'm going to share with you guys 2 videos that were shared with me of the same very bizarre object in the nighttime sky that looks like a bronze coin or something up in the sky, witnessed by 2 people 550 miles apart. Also in this video, I've got a brand new picture slideshow, new sky phenomena photos, sent from all around the world. We're first over here at the website. Don't forget to order your brand new 2022 sky for unusual phenomena picked up by the website. We'll take a quick look at the Schumann resonance, and you can see in the last 12 hours, there's been a significant spike in the Schumann resonance. Right now, the origins of that are unknown. As the planetary K index is quiet, there's no solar flares. In fact, solar activity is pretty quiet at the moment. That's always subject to change. Hopping over to the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera, looking at the seismographs that monitor the mighty supervolcano, they too are pretty quiet. No earthquake activity on any of the seismographs, and for the most part, the magma intrusion is relatively quiet today. And I want to show you guys this unusual bronze object in the nighttime sky, visible from 2 different locations, 550 miles apart. We're going to start up here in southwest Michigan. Video footage sent in by Jessica B. I'm zoomed in over here on the left. You can see the original video over here on the right. It was a vertical video, but I was able to zoom in pretty close without losing too much of the clarity. And definitely bronze. I didn't alter this in any way. This is how I received the video, and this is what they saw in the nighttime sky. And another gentleman saw this from near Baltimore, Maryland, and it looks like the same exact object, as you guys are going to see here in just a moment. I have no idea what this is. I know what it's not. It's not a helicopter. It's not an airplane. I wouldn't think this was any type of a drone. Don't see any flashing lights of any type of color, whether they be white, green, or red, or orange. You see some lights down here on the ground in the original video, but nothing up in the sky. It's kind of up there all by itself. Very bizarre. It doesn't appear to be a Chinese lantern, and there it just kind of fades out. I don't know if it went behind some clouds. Here you're going to see the same object 550 miles away in Belcamp, Maryland. Video footage taken by Donald D. from Belcamp, Maryland. That would be north of Baltimore. You're going to see the object come into view here. I've got the original over here on the right, the zoomed in version on the left. And doesn't that look like the same object that was viewed from southwest Michigan? I'd say so. That's the same exact object. But what is it? That is not an airplane or a helicopter. And I don't think it's a planet unless it's some sort of a new planet that we're not aware of, or at least I'm not aware of. Same type of color that was viewed from southwestern Michigan. I don't know, guys. I've never seen anything quite like this. And I've been getting a lot of this type of stuff lately. I've got tons of footage of of unusual things in not only the nighttime sky, but the daytime sky as well. Now we're going to look at the two locations side by side. We got Michigan over here on the left, Maryland on the right. You guys be the judge. Is that the same object? I would say so. Here it is in a slightly different format. I just brightened it up a little bit. Here I darkened it a little bit. Light is dark and dark is light. Looks like the same object to me. Here it is in a slightly enhanced version. Looks like the same object viewed from Michigan and viewed from Maryland. Here it is in a heavily enhanced format. I was trying to pull forward any type of possible unique features, and it does look like indeed it's the same exact object viewed 550 miles apart. They were filming the same object in the nighttime sky and had no idea they were doing it. And here's something similar in the nighttime sky, video footage taken by Mustafa M. I'm not sure of the location because he didn't give me a location. This too's in the nighttime sky, and it has similarities to what we just saw in Maryland and in Southwest Michigan. Again, don't know what this is. I do know what it's not. It's not an airplane. It's not a helicopter. I don't believe it's a Chinese lantern. It's too large.
I hate these stupid ads. And drive me crazy.
15 years of scientific research.
It's a long ways away. He zoomed in on it, and then I zoomed in on his video. I adjusted the color very slightly. I was trying to pull forward the color of the object. It does have similarities. You can see here on the left, the object from Maryland, and then the object here that is from an unknown location. Video footage sent in by Mustafa of an unusual object in the nighttime sky. Also in this video, I've got a brand new picture slideshow, new sky phenomenon photos sent in from all around the world. Starting off here in Loves Park, Illinois, photos sent in by Kathy of what looks like a giant eye in the sky. Photo here by Brian out of Great Falls, Montana. While he was driving down the highway, looked up and saw this very ominous orange-looking sky. Bright pink sky by Angela out of Greenville, South Carolina. That is unedited, exactly the way I received it. That was photo number 1, and here's photo number 2 of the same sky. Video footage here sent in by Paul of a dark object. This is a sky cam that he noticed this dark object on. Not sure of the location. I think it's somewhere in Australia. Unusual object again in the sky, like you see here by Amy out of East Idaho. This is unedited. This is as fast as it was going in the original video. I did not alter this in any way. Something speeding through the nighttime sky, fairly low to the ground. Photo here taken by Hennig K out of Texas of a bright gold sky as the sun was setting. Hennig took that from his big rig. Dominic L out of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Purple sky during a recent storm up there. William L out of Las Vegas, Nevada, incredible sunset. And then he took this photo after the sunset. The sky had a lot of activity in front of the sun. Photo here by Billy out of Revere Beach, Massachusetts, of an incredible fiery orange sky. So bright that it was reflecting off of all the water in front of Billy as he took the photo. Jose R out of Washingtonville, New York, of some unusual lightning in December above New York. Robert H out of Central Texas, got that big blanket looking cloud up in the sky. That would be the leading edge of a frontal boundary. That's creating that sharp contrast you see right there in the sky. Great job, guys. Keep the photos coming.
I found this guy's channel a couple of weeks ago. He does some good work on stuff like that. He always shows that atmospheric deal. He always shows, stuff people send in from around the country. I think I'm gonna send some of my pictures to him. Why not? I got some pretty cool pictures. But that picture he had from the 2 different people, that looks like a star to me. That's the way the stars look, in my videos and my pictures and stuff that I take. And it just looks like a star. It looks like, I believe, is it Mercury? I'll have to look back on my stuff, but it looks like Mercury to me from what I've seen. Is that who it is, Lee? Is that who it is? Are they up there? They watching over us, keeping us safe? Because every politician says the same thing. Our safety and security is their number 1 priority. Not cashing their check, not propping themselves up for the long haul. Be getting them getting them post-government $1 million jobs. Can you believe that? And no other business or sector, I guess it is, could you go from regular guy, decide to get into politics, rise to the top, become a millionaire, and nobody said a word. Be like, you done a good job, man. You got a job starting out 50,000 a year, then you got 170,000 a year, then you got into Congress, 170,000, 200,000 a year, and now you're a millionaire. Wow, you must be a fantastic money manager, especially like Nancy O. Pucosley. Yeah, just a mere congresswoman, 175,000 a year, and she's worth $50 million. Hey, she can't help it. Her husband's smart. Right, Fractal. I mean, we all know the body of Christ is the temple of God, is us, and we're the body of Christ. And when we meet like this, we are, in definition, we're having church this morning because we're all coming here, same intent, good fellowship, maybe learn something, share some things, with each other, help each other. Yeah, Lee, my whole philosophy is that, the firmament is like a liquid nitrogen, mercury, something like that. And I think the stars are just frequencies. They're just frequencies up there, and I don't know, but I would assume or guess that they make Baxter. They make a difference with their frequency here on Earth. They have a purpose. They have a reason. We there's so much we don't know, but we do know that we haven't gone there and looked at them, landed on them, touched them, tested them. We hadn't done that. I don't know why they tell us that. The atmosphere on this planet is da 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 da. We're doing soil samples and we're doing whatever. I'm tired of being treated like I'm dumb. I'm tired of being treated like I'll fall for the old banana in the tailpipe trick. I won't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. I won't do it. I don't know if that link is still live. I don't know how long do these links last, guys. Do I need to put the link in there again for Ella? I hope the chicken's coming out good. Hi, Ella's dad. You said hey to us. How you doing, bud? Here in Texas, we say, how you doing, bud? I know there you say, how you doing, mate? Yeah. Right, Lee. Right, it's, I wish they'd just tell us, man. It's so frustrating. I wish they'd just go, look, here's what we've done. We shot nuclear missiles, man, into the firmament, and it bounced off like it's, like it was a rubber ball off a concrete, surface. It just, we can't. There's nothing. We can't get out there. We can get up to here and we can float around this space station, and look around, but it's about all we can do. I wish they'd just tell us. Come on, man. Quit doing this to us. Baxter, I don't know why you got to stay up here. That storm has passed. It was just a quick little storm. Nicely. Nice. But we you know, how did we get past the point where the Bible told us, you know, he put the stars and the luminaries up there for signs and seasons, man, that we're supposed to use it like they used to, and it'll inform us. And that's why I've always, when it hit me about the sky clock, about how they changed everything, it's like, wow, what, you know, where should we be in time since they started shaving and molding and replacing time frames, you know, and dates and confusing everything. You know, like everybody's debated on our timeline. Is it really only like 1120 or something like that? 1121? Is it 1021? Yeah, where are we? We don't even know. We don't even know. Isn't that crazy to think about? Somebody knows, but we don't. Somebody knows. Yeah, they chiseled our time. Big, big. Rightly. And there's a website that this dude, he's the guy that does all the great overlays on the moon. And that's good stuff. Where is he? I know I got it. But this guy does a great job of the overlays. I gotta get rid of some of these subscriptions. I can't find things very quick now. When I have so many, I gotta remember the name of the channel. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, I'm such an idiot. When I can't find what I'm looking for. There we go. Yeah, he's got a... Let's do this one.
Móvil es tu nueva opción en cobertura y beneficios.
Yeah, this guy's pretty good, y'all. If you wanted to subscribe to this guy's channel, he does a pretty good job on this. Where is it? His music's not always the greatest. Yeah, see that right there? That's pretty crazy, huh? He does a real good job with these overlays. So yeah, if you if you get a chance, check out that guy. Yeah, I've seen those things, Fractal, where they talk about how high it was and what all's going on there, and Well, thanks, Flame. I appreciate that. Yeah, dude. When I first saw a guy did the video about his theory was that the moon's surface was, when God created light, was like a photograph, an X-ray image that was cast on the moon. That's what we see, the mirror image, like an X-ray or a picture that was permanent on the moon. Now that doesn't, it doesn't explain the phases. I'd like to know what's going on with the phases, man. That's just crazy. And one of the best examples I saw, a guy had like had like a tote, a rubber tote, like with a white milky liquid in it, and he had like a plate, and he laid it there, and it looked like the moon, and then he just started to dip it and let the fluid move up the plate, and wow, that looks like a phase. That really looked like the way the moon phased. So for the firmament being some form of liquid, like God said it would be or was or is, that demonstration was probably one of the best I've seen. That more closely mimicked the phase of the moon. Yeah, I mean, after seeing that guy's overlays and stuff, it's like, yeah, kind of hard to argue with. Kind of hard to argue with, especially after seeing the lunar wave, seeing things like that. Sorry, but yeah, there's a lot of questions that their answers just don't line up with observation, and we'd like to, come on, man, we'd like to get some honest brokers up there and get a look at this stuff. It's kind of tough hanging out here on the limb going, guys, man, I ain't buying what you're selling. And they're going, you have to buy it. You have to buy it. And if you don't buy it, you're an idiot. Come on, man. Like old Bill Beck-Better says, come on, man. Don't you guys get it? Don't you understand? Well, we all are patiently waiting for Ella, if she can hear me. I'm about to run out of material. I was hoping we could get an update from down under. We got plenty of time. Oh, I enjoy, as I told y'all the other day, some good comedy. And while we wait here, I got a good one. One of my favorites.
Thank God.
One of my favorites. Let's do a share here. Now, some of you will get this.
Oh my God.
Some of you won't.
I grew up in the 80s. I didn't have to worry about any of that. You didn't have to worry about genders, none of that stuff. There's no gender. They make you debate that. No one cared. No one cared. You knew right away anyway. People knew what sexuality you were just by the earring you had on. Remember that? If you had an earring in your left ear, you were right. This is how stupid I was. This is why I look at my kids like, I can't. I get pissed, but I was so stupid. I had a dangling cross earring, dangling cross left ear to let gay people know, look, you can look, but you can't touch. And then if it was in the right ear, you were gay. You're like, oh my God, Larry's gay. How do you know that? He's got an earring in his right ear. And then if they had two earrings, both ears, you're like, whoa, these people are wild. You didn't know what was going on. That's how I found out Elton John was gay after a while. The 70s, he didn't have the earring. He just was, Saturday, that's all right. It's like, this guy's wild. None of my uncles are like that. But I'm trying to figure it out. And they came out with his feathered bow. Saturday on the piano. Nice, all right. And this guy's wild. But then in the 80s, he put the earring in his right ear where Elton John's gay. How did I not know that? Now people, the gender thing, oh my God. Just the start of that horrifies me. You gotta think about that. You can't let kids do that, man. Imagine going from like a boy to a girl, right? You're like, I think I want to be a girl. We might have all had that thoughts. Might have. Well, we didn't commit. We had people around us going, oh, you definitely should do that. You definitely should take your dick off, take hormones, change your whole structure system. Don't worry, you might not get cancer. You change your hormones. That don't happen. And I feel bad because if you cut off, all right, let's say you cut it off. Okay, this is more comfortable. Let me take my hormones. This is safe. Thank you, science. And then you're confident about that decision until you're like, yeah, man, I feel much better being a woman. I cut my weenie off. And then you're at a concert, it's muddy, and you got to go in a porta potty. That's when you wish you kept it. That's the one time you go, oh my God, I never thought of this. Flies in there, it's blue cook and puke, and just girls cannot. Oh my God. I can't be in any of these things. I can't. Are there trees around? Oh Christ, I gotta go so bad. That's when you wish you had a donkey and I would piss right on the urinal. Oh, why couldn't I have been a transvestite? I should have waited. I could dress up whenever I want and take it off. Damn it.
That's funny, man. I don't care you. That's funny. Oh my God. Jeez, I could have just been a tranny. Gotta pee in a porta potty. Right? I mean, you know, and think about that. Something to think about. Something to think about when, like, my wife several times. Oh gosh, NASCAR, all those things, events, guys' bathroom. You go right in, man. No line, women's 100 people long. It's like, yeah, man, when you can just walk up and start hosing her down and go run off, you're good. Yeah, that one girl out of Australia. I don't know about her. Her little video was a little too polishy. She was a little too calm. She was a little too understanding. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, flame out. Yeah, I've seen that interview where he tells the story about that movie where they gave Chappelle that car. And, man, I don't know how to drive, man. I ain't driving no car. Right. Yeah, they it was their sitcom was supposed to be what was it called? Buddies. It was Buddies. And yeah, in the early 90s, they're like, yeah, we're gonna make a groundbreaking TV show about how a black guy and a white guy can be friends. And then they kind of thought about like, oh, I mean, what do you do? It's not that big of a stretch. People can be friends. Fred, did you go outside? All the dogs are starting to move around. They've heard me. Yeah, operated. I guess everybody's in the garage. If they're not, they'll be sorry they didn't come in. Not my fault. Not my fault. Well, Ella, we've been gone an hour and 11 minutes, babe. I want an update from Australia. If you're not still connected. Yeah, that girl, I don't know about that video. She was just too, relaxed and everything. You'd have thought she'd been like, just distraught, going, I cannot believe they've done this. And then her whole story about, yeah, I told them I was vaccinated, and then they called back and said they couldn't find any record, and I was like, oh, okay, I lied. And they're like, well, we're coming back for you. What? That seemed kind of premeditated. All that, it was weird, just weird. But yeah, man, you gotta pray for those people. It's tough when you have that many people around you that are asleep, compliant, 100% compliant. No pushback, no argument, no nothing. Oh, sure, it's a prep. Sure. They're everything is for a reason. Just softening up, turning the screws a little at a time, until we look around and we're Australia. Ha, you were out there, were you? But yeah, that's the way they do it, man. Yeah, they took all their guns. They implemented all this social engineering. They implemented all the pronoun stuff. They introduced just a little bit at a time for those people. They were definitely a test run. 7, you are not going in there. Come here. You need to hush. Yeah, I mean, that was the worst thing. They were like, I remember when it was going on, they had all over the news, piles of guns, tables of guns on them, giving people a couple $100 for them. It's just crazy. Why do these people? I can't. It's hard to believe. That literally is the old, frog and water scenario where they just so slowly turned it up that they looked around and it was just, what do you do? I still don't get the people that are strapping on the flak jackets and the combat boots and strapping on the guns and the tasers and the pepper spray and going, hey, I got a job to do. Come here. You're not going over there. Come here. Come here. You're not going over there. Mama's still asleep, and you'll go wake her up. Here's 7, everybody. She's being a whiny butt. She wants to go back to bed with Mama. Yeah, like the videos Ella showed us and stuff. They're just getting everything ready, and they're slowly gonna start filling it, and it's all. I'm sorry, it's all under the guise. Same stuff like the mask work, like everything else. Hey, just gonna be for a little bit. You're gonna be here 2 weeks. Once everything's cleared, you can go back home. Really? That easy? It's never that easy. Right, Lee? I made out the call. Where are you? We need our update. But while she's doing dinner, we'll check out something else. I'm good at finding other things. Now, for those of you who have teenagers, this one is really funny. I feel everything he says in this one. So this is all true when you if you have teenagers, especially girls, right? Especially
that is better. However, my wife struggles with teenagers. She struggles with the teenagers. One day, she said, she let me sleep. Thank you, great wife. And I turned, I said, honey, what are you doing? She's like, I'm gonna drive the kid to school today. You rest. Well, no, she's like, no, you rest. Thank you. And those are moments like, oh my God, life is difficult. We deal with so much pain, losses. Am I a good parent? Am I doing the right thing? Am I too strict? We do the best we can. These are the moments that remind you why we're married, why we're in this together, and why we kick ass doing this. And maybe 6 seconds later, I heard, what did you do to me? I asked you 7 times! What are you yelling about? What are you yelling? No one's yelling! I'm not driving you to school. And I wake up, I said, what's going on? My wife's going, don't ask me, ask her. There's no trick. This is why marriage. When you go to your clergyman. Do you want me to tell her? Yeah. You know God? Yeah. Okay, I think you're ready. What kind of prep is that? How about prepping this marriage soldier for think he's in the bunk like, wake up, situation soldier! Wake up! We don't know where it's going. Someone may be punched. I got my boxer shorts on with no underwear. The first thing my daughter goes, ew, Dad! What? I just woke up. I'm sorry. I was not expecting this situation, nor was he. He'll be down in a second, trust me. I want to see what's going on. You can't stop it. I gotta get through this. What's going on, man? Just let me talk to them. I thought you were sleeping. Yeah, I thought I was too. It's her first time driving them. First time. I'm not driving them. My oldest one is, my youngest one, she don't get it. She don't get it. Mom does not bow down to anything. Nothing. And I know the words that are going to escalate this into a possible nuclear situation. And she presses that. She doesn't look at the button. She just... Everyone man your positions. This is going to be about a prelim situation. Yeah, man. So I get up. What's going on? God, that's that. What happened? She's nuts. I can't defend you. This is gonna get bad. This is gonna get bad. That's the word. I've learned that 6 years into marriage. Took me another 5 to figure out you don't call her psycho. And all the feelings you have about that cell phone and how addicting it is and how it's ruining their lives and how it's sucking their soul and all the times you went, well, they need it. Well, that's how they communicate nowadays. And you talk yourself into that to make sure they have it. All comes crumbling down with this 1 second when mom, her reaction is, give me the phone. And the little one goes, no. Start building bunkers! We got about 15 seconds! Oldest one's running for cover. I'll start walking to school! What's going on? Well, she won't give her the phone! And that's when you realize how powerful this phone is. No. Then it ain't your phone. I pay for it. Your father pays for it. You don't ever say no. Ever. Give me the phone. Please, give it to me. Give it to me. I'll give it back. I'll give it back. You'll get it back. You gotta give me the phone. You don't understand. She's gonna turn on me after this. I'm gonna get you out of here safe and sound. You should know this is not good. This is all I need. Give her the phone. Why? Because I said so. Don't say it. Even the other one's going, stop talking! Stop talking! I'm 3 years ahead of you! Trust me! Stop talking! Give me the phone! give it to Dad. You want it back in a week? You can use mine when she's in bed. How do you not know this? Yeah. And the oldest one's in college. At the end of every night, they're just like, beep, 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 beep. The oldest one's like, all right, this is what you have to do. Always say sorry, give her the phone, and then so she gives her the phone. We've been good dealing with that. And you realize, God, that thing is so addicting. I hate that thing. And they look at it like drugs. You ever take your phone away from your kid? You know what? You need some time. I'm just putting it right here. And they'll circle it. They'll keep circling. Don't touch it. I'm not. Can I just check my messages? My homework's on it. I need it. Daddy, I need my homework. Your homework's on. Can you get it for too? All right, give me your part. Okay, all right. Now we're both in trouble.
Isn't that so true? Dads, guys out there, that always boomerangs on us, right? Right, Lee? How did he get away with how'd she get away with that? 6 years not taking the kids to school. Must be nice. What are you barking at? What are you barking at? But yeah, that's too funny, man. I know my kids, when they're their phones, they were like that, man. You take it away and they hear a ding or anything. My phone, I gotta check my messages, please. I'm sorry, man. You dropped the ball. You dropped the ball. But I'm with you guys. I'm, on the foreign doctors. I've noticed over here, all the foreign doctors, they're really, they are totally compliant. They are completely in on anything. When this all first broke, I had an appointment in Abilene with a pain management guy, and I show up, and I'm the only one there in the office besides him and his workers, and they all have their mask on. They have N95s on. They don't even have just regular old paper, and they're like, you're gonna need to wear a mask. And I'm like, well, why would I? Y'all are wearing masks. If they work. I'm the only one in this whole office here without one. Everybody's safe, all good. Nope, he says, sorry, I won't treat you. I won't do it to you unless you wear a mask. And I said, then you won't be getting my monies. You won't be treating me. I'm just, I ain't gonna put up with the crap. I'm here for you to check out my back and my hips and stuff because I'm in pain. I ain't here because I'm sick. And I argued with the guy. I said, I can't believe you're confusing the two. I'm not here sick with any symptoms of any kind. I'm here for pain. That's it. I'm not sick. I have no symptoms whatsoever, but yet, think about this. The guy made a good point. In the years past, what would happen if the famous basketball game where Michael Jordan had the flu and he hung 60 on Detroit? What if they'd had flu protocols in? Yeah, Mr. Jordan, he's He's got the flu, can't be playing tonight. We're in flu protocols. He'll be quarantined for the next week. Yeah. some of the greatest sports performances happened when the guy was sick, wasn't feeling good, didn't feel good, and they went out and pulled it off. Yeah, imagine that over the last decades if they had done that with just a regular flu. Oh, whoa. You can't come to school. You've got the flu. Stay home. When people finally stayed home from work, they'd already, the contagious phase was past by the time they go home. So, a lot of good that does. But, what do? It's so silly. I told Kathy the other day, I said, did you notice they're not even pretending anymore about tracking numbers, things like that? Because now if you go, okay, well, what were the numbers with the first variant? And then what were the numbers with the Delta variant? And then what were the numbers, with all these other variants? What was it? And they're like, a lot of people got sick. A lot of people. Well, yeah, Gog and Magog, technology and money. Oh yeah, I don't doubt at all that those any of the foreign doctors and stuff that come over here have already been indoctrinated to the one world system over there. I mean, they've been running the one world system program over there for a while. Think about with the European Union. What's that? All of a sudden, all these countries are going to join together. I mean, didn't you already pretty much trade with who had the best deals? You didn't have to really have this big thing. And then, now I don't know for sure what the final deal was. Did the UK actually do their Brexit? Did Britain exit the Union? Because I know they did, and then they didn't, and then they did. And they had their votes twice. They voted for it, and the powers that be pulled it out from under them. So I don't know what the score is there. If anybody knows, are they still doing the Brexit, or has that kind of been one of those deals they just washed away? I get something to drink. Getting thirsty. Talking so much. Oh, Ella, come on, man. If you're busy, I understand. Right. I tell you what, for the longest time, especially early in my career, that was back when the big push was going in the medical field for rising wages. And that's when you started hearing about, man, you go be a nurse. Geez, you go be a nurse, man, you make $20, $25 an hour. That was unheard of, 80s and 90s. And then my ex-wife brought me home a pamphlet for surgical technologist. And one of the deals they cited was a Forbes deal in the late 80s. Had come out on up and coming careers and job opportunities. And surgical tech was like in the top 3. They were really, really needing them. They were transitioning from, in surgery for the longest time were LVNs. And they went to nursing school and they went to the hospital and they said, okay, you're going to work in surgery. And they took them in and they trained them right there in surgery and said, you know, you're going to work with this doctor. And it was pretty cumbersome there for a while. You had some that were veterans like, you know, Margaret Houlihan that knew surgery inside out, but you know, new people, they didn't know anything. So I was one of the early classes that was exclusively just for surgical technology. And the rest is history. I've been at a couple of hospitals where they were kicking around the idea of, hey, you know, so none of the nurses, and this was so crazy, so that the nurses aren't so stressed with all the paperwork and with you know, having to be the one to retrieve drugs, be responsible for drugs, and helping with surgery and everything, and doing what they do. Let's just have all our ends, and we'll have our surgical techs that are here now train these nurses to scrub. And they brought that up and I laughed. I said, I tell you what, you want me to train a nurse to scrub, you pay me $50 an hour and I'll train your nurses to scrub, but I ain't gonna train no nurse to scrub. You kidding me? I ain't got time for that. No way, man. Ain't no way. I ain't gonna train nobody. Had a couple of people like, oh yeah, sure, I'll help them, I'll show them. Why would you do that? They're already making twice as much as we are. And now you're going to teach them to do your job so they can get rid of you. That's smart. It's real sharp of you. I worked at a hospital and I was up there in Little Rock, and they had set up their own internal program where they were training people like orderlies. They were, you know, they'd hire an orderly for $10 an hour, and they seemed kind of sharp. They'd be like, you want to learn to scrub these cases? And they're sure. And they already had one or two people. This one guy, he was pretty decent, Mexican guy, but he only did this one surgeon, and a few of his cases, he couldn't even do them all. There were a few smaller cases he could do, but I was like, that ain't cool, man. You can't put those people out there. How are they ever supposed to take emergency call? What does this guy know? You know, dissecting aorta come in. What's he gonna do? That patient's gonna die, man. That patient's gonna die. And so you can't have half your employees that can't cover everything. It's just stupid. Nothing drove me crazier than people who, you come into work and they're like, hey, they got me assigned to Dr. So-and-so. Yeah, you want to switch rooms? And I'm like, what are you going to do in the middle of the night when you get called out and he's the surgeon? What are you going to do? You got to be able to take care of that shit, man. Be like that. Oh, I saw the transition in the medical field and the money like that. They took away, was it 95? Around 1995 or so, they took away a lot of the perks for doctors with the medical companies, with the pharmaceutical companies and the medical device companies. Doctors used to get sweet deals, man, sweet deals. They used to talk about it. Hey, how'd you and the wife like the trip to Europe? Ooh, man, it was nice. Thank you. Yeah, that was a good place y'all put us up. And we're all standing around going, what about us? And there for a while, the reps, you know, I'd always give them hell, man. And I'd be like, hey, you know, after work today, it's on me, you know. Everybody will go down to Fuddruckers and have a drink. On me. Bob would do that now and then. Bob was a good guy. He'd do that. Other ones would just, they'd bring in food sometimes. And An operating room, I always said, was like an army. It marched on its stomach. And if I know our crew didn't get fed, it'd be a bad day. You'd have a bunch of angry people. But when the reps brought in food, oh, that made life so much easier. Wow, you didn't have to go stand in line. You didn't have to go prepare your food. If you brought something, you just go in and grab that stuff and eat. It's funny. That's a dynamic that not many people can relate to. How do I get a lunch break? I'm right in the middle of a surgery. Somebody comes in and says, okay, you've got 30 minutes, and they are clocking you from the time you walk out that door. That's not from the time you get your food. That's not from the time you get to the cafeteria. That's the time you walk out. That's why I usually turn down lunch breaks, because I'd finish my stuff and go home. I could make it through lunch. I was fine. But we're at hour 41. Ella, if you're not gonna be able to come on, give me a sign, and I will sign off, or we will set up another time. Let me see here if I got any correspondence from her. I got no emails. So, all right, guys, hour 40 minutes in. I'm gonna cash in my chips. Ella, send me an email, something. Give me an update. You know, if you want, we'll come on live again here in a little while. That's up to you. Just send me some correspondence. We'll get it done. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Good discernment, good vibrations. Love you all.